NASCAR, stop the feud before it starts. What I refer to, most of you know by now, is that after a pit road incident early in the Martinsville race between Brad Keselowski and eventual winner Busch, it looks like a feud starting. There's been mainly by Keselowski, and he's known to be the Twitter king, so what they need to do is call both drivers, in my opinion, it's much disclaimer, strictly my opinion, to the truck in Texas before any on-track activity and settle it. Just the drivers. As far as I'm concerned, they don't need crew chiefs or what have you. The drivers only. One or two NASCAR officials and two drivers. That's all they need. Get it settled. Now, I don't know and why I didn't do this. I didn't think of it, but I subscribe to NASCAR.com Track Pass Race View. And I have the option on that to listen to NASCAR officials. And I should have switched over to NASCAR. I'm a Dale Jr. fan. I normally listen to Dale Jr. the whole race. But sometimes something going on, I'll switch over to NASCAR. Especially if there's a rain delay, I'll switch to NASCAR to see what they're going to do. But why, when the 2-car come back out of the pits, Keselowski come back out of the pits and started basically messing with Busch and looked at me like trying, I'm not a driver, so, but trying to take him out and brake checking him and all that. I would like to know. So if anybody through the NASCAR.com subscription service or being at the track knows, please post in the comments. Did NASCAR come over the radio? And it would have went something like this. Inspector, get with the crew chief on the 2-car and tell him he's 30 laps down or whatever laps down he was, and he doesn't need to be racing like that. Now, I'm not here to say yes, it was Busch's fault, it was Keselowski's fault, it was Casey Kane's fault. I'm not here to try to place blame. I call it a racing incident on pit road, which happens at a track like Martinsville. It has a fairly narrow pit road, one of the narrowest on the circuit, probably outside of Dover, maybe the narrowest. And I'm not here to place blame. I don't want to see a repeat of the Carl Edwards-Brad Keselowski feud that really got out of hand. I was actually in Atlanta sitting off turn 4 when the Carl Edwards put him up in the air going down in turn 1, and we were figuring, wow. And then started checking on the scanner and they were saying it was payback, but I'm not here. I just don't want to see another feud like that. That feud got totally out of hand. NASCAR, in my opinion, did a bad job policing it. And they need to stop it before it starts. It started out a racing incident. That's all it was. And that should be the end of it. Yeah, there can be hard feelings. But frankly, Keselowski, ever since he won the championship in 2012, has appointed himself spokesman for NASCAR in a lot of people's opinion. And no, he's not the one that needs to be doing it. The other thing I want to say, I was proud of the way Busch handled the interviews after the race. In fact, I've seen on Facebook where they tried to bait him into saying something about Brad Keselowski, and he deflected it back to praising his team. Yeah, he made one remark that was a little out of line, and I've said this before. What a driver says on the team radio is often taken out of context. I have no problem if they say, I'm going to wreck that so-and-so, and then don't do it. Now, I will tell you, NASCAR listens to the team radios. I was at a truck race at the late Louisville Motor Speedway, the track that had the dumbest shape in the world. But the truck series drivers hated the track, but said it'd be the first one they'd line up to buy a ticket to watch a race. And the driver got his tire cut off, and he come on. I was listening to him. I was just scanning different drivers that day. He come on the radio and said, I'm going to wreck that so-and-so. Went out and spun him, and NASCAR parked him for 2 or 3 laps. And that was probably the end of that feud. But NASCAR, stop the feud before it starts. This has strictly been my opinion for what it's worth.